Hello and welcome to Artwork, a conversation with creative people about the joys, the challenges and the mundane moments of living an artistic life. We're your hosts, I'm Poppy Rose.
And I'm Brie Robertson.
And our artist today is Diana Galminzyanova.
Diana is a filmmaker and video artist based in Moscow, Russia. Her award-winning short films have been accepted to more than 70 festivals in 20 countries, and her art pieces have been a part of group exhibitions all over the world.
Her award-winning debut feature film, The Lightest Darkness, was the first ever female-directed Russian film noir, and she is now working on her next project, a horror comedy called Murder Girl, which she tells us all about in the episode.
Diana blew us away with her perspective on how art can challenge the status quo, the importance of women supporting women, and how she uses her artistry to share the voices of those who don't always have that power themselves.
We found Diana and her art through Instagram, and it was so incredible that although the three of us had never met, and we're all in and we're all from different countries, we each felt such a strong connection throughout this conversation.
It was amazing to hear from a fellow female creative that she is passionate about similar things as we are. We hope that this episode is a huge encouragement to you that there are people all over the world doing what they can to make a positive difference through art. Let's dive in. Welcome, Diana, to the Artwork podcast. We're so excited to have you here. You're one of the first people that we are talking to who we've never met before, and you're currently in Moscow, Russia, right?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be part of your show. It's the first time for me doing a podcast, so I'm a bit nervous, but yeah, it feels really comfortable here.
Oh, good. I'm so glad we managed to connect on Instagram.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, awesome.
Because we don't really know you, we would love to just get a little bit of an insight into who you are and how would you describe yourself as a person, as an artist? Where do you come from? Just give us a brief introduction about who you are so our listeners can get a bit of a picture in their mind.
Oh, okay, I'm a filmmaker and contemporary artist based in Moscow, Russia. I do both contemporary art and film stuff. So this is kind of who I am. I don't know. I'm not good talking about myself, I guess. That's why I'm doing my podcast right now. Because I don't know what to say about me. I'm kind of a genre filmmaker because I do horror and stuff. As a contemporary artist, I like to explore themes like feminism, ecology, social alienation, and this kind of stuff. So it's a kind of different words inside me, two different people basically. And I also do performance art. Now I'm a performance artist as well. This is like a third part of me.
Amazing. It's so crazy as an artist, isn't it, to actually have to put words to what you do sometimes. It's like I can create and I feel really comfortable when I'm making things, but to actually talk about it and for the attention to be on you as the person, it's like, oh my gosh, what do I do?
I mean, I can talk about my pieces and stuff, but talking about myself is kind of hard because I don't know. I don't want to become an narcissist. I'm trying to be less narcissistic because we live in the world that's like probably narcissistic.
Diana, when did you first experience creativity? Did you grow up surrounded by the arts? Or was it something that you kind of explored later on in life? Where did it all begin for you?
I've been creating words since I wasn't I don't know. I was around 8 years old or something, and I've begun writing some short stories and stuff because I've begun seeing pictures inside my brain, pictures that told the stories. So I've been doing that since my childhood. And I kind of grew up surrounded by art, but not so much. Like my mom's a journalist. I have a lot of PhDs in family, so we had art and science kind of environment, but not like my father drew paintings and so on. But it wasn't like I don't know. I just felt that way.
you started having these, you said, these images in your head of stories that you wanted to share and to tell. Like, how did this develop, and what was the first like medium of art that you like expressed your stories and yourself through? Was it film at first, or?
First, I've begun writing stuff. I began writing like short stories and stuff like that. I've realized that I want to become a filmmaker, and I started like exploring the pictures inside my head and putting them onto the pictures outside my head. Like before
Wow.
that, I was putting pictures from my head into the worlds, and then I started trying to put them into the pictures. So first, because I've been writing like short stories and stuff, since silly short stories, I guess, since I was like 8 or something. I just remember writing my first story. It was about cats. So I wrote it. I showed it to my mother, and she was like, "Yeah, great, you're doing great."
What you've said about having pictures in your mind and to create films, putting the pictures from your mind onto a screen. That's amazing.
That's how it works for me, because usually for each of my I don't know, like video arts or films, I usually see the first and the last picture inside my head before I start writing.
Wow.
And some of the pictures in the middle, I just see them inside my head, then I put them to the paper, and then I discover stuff that happens in between those pictures
Wow.
and write them down.
Wow, this is such, I mean, such an amazing insight into your process. I feel like this is so new. I mean, me and Brie were
Yeah.
musicians, and I've started doing some jewelry, but film is not really something either of us have personally like been involved with. So it's so fascinating to hear your process.
I've seen some of the film projects that you're doing right now on your YouTube and on your website. But one of the major projects that you've done was
Hmm.
The Lightest Darkness, and you were the first female woman in Russia to
Hmm.
direct a film noir, which is so cool. For all the people
Yeah.
who don't know a lot about film, there's so many things I want to ask you about this whole project that you did. But I guess to set it up a little bit, can you tell us a little bit about what film noir is?
Okay, film noir is like an American genre that was popular from the like 40s to the late 50s. It's like a special genre that like nihilistic and dark, and tell the deep psychological stories. It usually involves like private eye and like beautiful women, but not always actually. But my film noir actually involves beautiful women and private eye, because like a homage. I'm rediscovering this genre through the feminist point of view, basically. And actually,
Amazing.
film noir is not really well known in Russia, because it's not Russian people usually know like Italian movies from the 50s. They really like the Italian New Wave and French New Wave, but they're not really aware of the film noir. They basically know 3, 4 films. So it was kind
Yeah,
of a weird
right.
choice for me to make a film noir in Russia. Yeah.
So yeah, as you were making this film, and you were one of the first, or the first woman to direct a film noir, like, did you feel that you were kind of isolated and on your own, or was it like this empowering, like, I'm the first one to do this, I'm pioneering this in my country, and like, did you have a community around you to support you with that, or was it quite an isolating
Mm.
feeling?
Like both of those things. I felt a huge responsibility for the genre, because such a huge genre with the rules and stuff. And I also
Mm.
felt kind of isolated, because as I said, it's not a well-known genre in Russia. So they usually need to explain people like, I'm doing film noir, that and that and that. Remember that? Have you seen Casablanca? Yeah, well, Casablanca is noir. Wow, I have no idea. I thought it was just like a Hollywood film. But at the same time, I was blessed to have a lot of people who believed in project, people who worked on this film. And I felt a huge responsibility for them as well, because we are doing such a crazy project together. So I guess it was both things.
Was that a really big project to complete? And did you have that really big sense of achievement for yourself?
Well, since it was my debut feature, it was like a big thing for me, and still is like like huge step for me. And I
Yeah.
don't know, I have a complicated relationship with that film because like my first feature, and some things like nowadays I just don't like, because I actually had
Mm.
a screening of it recently at. I'm part of an artist run gallery, and I have a like film club there called the Bomba Video Club, where I screen some underground short films and video arts from all over the world. And I also have a special screening of my feature just recently. And and again I had the feedback from people. People seem to like the film, and I'm still feeling kind of nervous every time I screen it to people, because it's like a
Yeah.
big thing for me.
You're a woman who's done something for the first time in your country, and do you see yourself that you're paving the way for other female creatives in your part of the world?
I don't think so, because it's like, as I said, it's not a popular genre, so I don't think people is gonna be directing a lot of film noirs after
Right,
me.
okay.
I mean, it's a huge responsibility, even though, because like I don't know, it's amazing genre, because amazing
Yeah.
genre with a lot of like legacy. The legacy of this genre is like really huge, and even people who don't know nothing about the genre still watching movies that have a lot of things that was
Mhm.
pioneered in the film noir, actually, especially like in Hitchcock and stuff.
Yes.
In talking about film noir, the only woman who directed a film noir was Ida Lupino with a Hitchhiker. She was the only one who had directed a film noir during that era. Although other film noirs were directed by men.
That's amazing. That's so cool that you took a genre of film
Ah,
that is mostly being directed by men and thought, like, I'm going to do that. Well done.
thank you.
Как только земля на свете носит.
Хороший же из вас детектив.
Уже четвертая жертва фруктовщика. Полиция от комментариев отказалась, но один пользователь Инстаграма утверждает, что...
Не ожидала тебя тут увидеть.
Я так рад тебя видеть.
And from that film, you had it screened at lots of different film festivals, and it was reviewed by so many different blogs and organizations. So I was just wondering, like, for film festivals, for independent filmmakers, for you, like you, what does it mean to be featured at a film festival?
I think it's a way to show the film to an audience, because you need to find your audience, especially when you're doing an independent film. You don't have like all the PR people doing the like campaigns to show your film to audience. You need to do it by yourself. And like film festivals is the way to show your a piece to the audience, to find your audience, to like, I don't know, find your way basically. Although I have a distributor, we have a distributor, a Canadian company called Dark Side Releasing, and they promoting my film, and they like you can order it on Amazon and stuff, and it's available on some platforms. But still, festivals are the first way to show your film to the world and to the audience. And also, as a filmmaker, I feel really blessed that my film is screening at some countries I've never been. Like this particular film was, its premiere was at festival at South Africa. So, like, it's really amazing place
Cool.
to have a premiere. It's really cool to like imagine that a film is seen by the people in those countries you've never been.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I
amazing.
mean, that is just one of most the most amazing things about the internet. Hey, it just allows so much accessibility for so many different projects to be shared and be seen by so many different people. And I mean, even for example, us here on this call today, we're all in 3 different countries, and the internet has
Oh,
allowed us
it's amazing.
to all
Yeah, that's,
talk and record this. It's just so phenomenal.
and we can
Yeah,
see each other like we're in the same room. It's really
I
amazing.
know.
having your film being shown in festivals and finding your audience, what then is next for you? Like, do you want to continue creating films for that audience, or do you want to work on other projects? Like, what kind of keeps you going in the film world?
But ideally, you find your audience and you keep that audience and you create new film for them, and that audience like broadens and it becomes huge audience, and you become famous and rich. Ideally, but well, it haven't happened to me yet. But I hope some of the people who've seen my film at Lightest Darkness, they will continue looking for my stuff, and maybe they will look at my new film and they will like it and tell people about it. Again, ideally, because probably it's the same in the music industry. You need to have money for like promotion. If you don't have a lot of money for promotion, not a lot of people will heard about your piece, basically.
Yeah, that's the deliberation I'm in right now.
Sometimes it's kind of hard, but you can wish for the better and like keep on going and doing your stuff, like hoping that someday you will find your huge audience or something will happen. I don't know, aliens on a spaceship will come here and give me a lot of money.
You know, on your website, you have had so many reviews and you reach out to so many festivals. So I feel like you have made such an amazing start on building your audience and growing your following. But like, how much, you know, you have the fun creative time of, you know, thinking of the film, making the film, editing, all of the fun creative side. How much time do you spend like doing the boring stuff, like the admin and like of emailing these festivals and getting in touch and getting people to review it? Is that a tough balance for you, or do you enjoy that side as well?
It's a hard question because I'm not really pleased with myself doing the promotion. I would have hired a person to do that if I've had money, but I don't have money for that yet. It's a balance. You're like balancing your time. Like so you look at your schedule and like thinking what kind of a day I will like do the promotion and what kind of day I will use to, I don't know, do some other stuff, because I have basically two parts of me, a contemporary artist and filmmaker, and both styles parts require promotion and like doing all the open calls, like sending film to festivals, like researching all the stuff. I'm basically I try to spend at least portion of time on that, like regularly.
It's amazing, really, how much as an artist we end up doing in our day-to-day life. Like it's a lot to balance.
And it's a vicious circle as well, because if you don't make the creation, you have nothing to share. But if you don't share it, you can't make the creation. And it's this whole cycle of trying to find a balance of enjoying the creativity and then actually having the discipline to sit down and do the boring bits of promoting it. And it sounds like you've got a good balance going on.
I'd love to talk more about the themes that you enjoy working with in your contemporary art, but also you kind of mentioned for your films as well, that for the film that you did, you wanted to tell a story from a female point of view. Did I understand that correctly? Or
not really from the female point of view, because the protagonist of Lightest Darkness is a man, but still like reverse some of the tropes that are used in film noir about women. And then also the more important fun for me was to hire as much women as I can for the film, and it still is for my next project. I want to hire as much women as I can.
Yes. Okay. So can you tell us a little bit about like, why is this important to you that female artists are being employed, that their stories are being told, that these themes are a strong part of your work? Why is this important to you?
For me, the female artist, the feminist, is just important to help another women, because like only coming together we can change the whole world and the whole point of view and the whole way that things are usually going. For example, like minimal wages for women, like the whole difference of salaries between men and women on doing the same jobs. We can only change that even when we try to connect and like work together. Every person change something, the whole way of things will change eventually. But like we need to keep on going.
It's so exciting to hear someone who I've never met in a country that I've never been talking about something that like is also really important to me, you know? And like hearing you say that, it excites me so much that like that there are women like you in another part of the world fighting for this bigger cause that you know a lot of women that I know here in Berlin are also fighting for, and it just makes me feel like yes, in all our little parts of the
There is
world
hope.
we're doing our little part to lift each other up and give each other jobs and let each other's stories be told, and we could together, you know, we could do amazing things. And so that's just so exciting to hear you talk about that.
Yes, it's really amazing to feel this connection between people from all over the world doing the same things and like uplifting each other. Like steps are still small, but things are changing.
Can you tell us a little bit about the Murder Girl project that you're working on? Because I've seen a couple of the videos of the Murder Girl project, and it is so funny and so quirky and cool. Where did this idea come from?
Well, thank you. Well, Murder Girl is a big project of mine, transmedia project that I actually just finished the script for the feature just 2 days ago. I finished it finally, the script for the feature.
Amazing.
It's a big project. It's about a serial killer blogger who blogs about killing people. And like it includes at this point it includes like short film which is like a mockumentary kind of a weird stuff. You can check out the trailer on my website. Includes fake blogs, includes music video, includes a theater play, and that will conclude in a feature that I've just finished the script for. It's like it's a story about narcissism, about the whole influence the influencers have on people. I explore that theme that nowadays people on Instagram, TikTok, whatever, they have a huge impact on people, and how they use that impact, it's up to them. And there's like they can I think they can impact people quite a lot.
Absolutely.
Murder Girl is like satirical story about her murdering people and actually slaughtering people at an abandoned Soviet summer camp in the feature. She's going to be slaughtering people, but each person she slaughters is like a kind of a sexist way of doing things, like alpha male or all this kind of toxic muscular guy. She will going to be slaughtering them because like Murder Girl is like pure feminist film. It's like super feminist. Like Lighter Darkness had feminist themes, but the protagonist still was a male because like no, it's a complicated story, whatever. But Murder Girl is like a pure feminist horror comedy.
It sounds amazing.
A lot of sexist tropes and like stereotypical female ways of doing things from horror genre, which is really sexist actually at its core, especially slasher, and the Murder Girl is a slasher.
А как это у вас в музее оружия и кухонного ножа? А сколько такой ножик стоит?
Зарезать хочешь?
Не только ищу нож, но присматриваю себе будущую жертву.
Пожалуйста.
Эта женщина в желтом капюшоне, она следит за мной.
Ну, да, я убиваю людей, это мой хобби, мой талант. Но серийный убийца сразу рисует образ какого-то злодея. Верный злодей.
I love that you're taking existing forms and genres and kind of like turning them upside down and just like really challenging everything that we've kind of just nodded and watched for so many years. You're taking it and you're mixing it up and you're challenging people to think in a different way, which is just awesome.
We can change the status quo if we try. We can change that stuff. Like we just need to try harder. it will fall. It will fall. The whole thing will fall and like will be destroyed at some point. But we just need to keep on going and trying. And there is no like small steps. Every step is important.
Yes.
My gosh,
That's
everything
so
you said.
So sorry for preaching. I'm so sorry for
Please
preaching.
preach. We love it. We're preaching the same message. We agree. It's good.
It kind of goes on to another thing that I'm really interested in getting your perspective about, of like, what do you think, what is the role of the arts for our society? How can the arts be a powerful way to change the status quo? Why is the arts a useful tool to use to challenge people's perspectives? And yeah.
I think the art could show you the problem, like it could dramatize the problem that exists in the society, and like show you, explore the problem, and at some point you can find the solution inside the problem, something like that. Especially in contemporary art, I mean, you try to like point people on the problem, like the big problem, like, because like contemporary art reflects the current situation of the world basically, and all the problems we have. So the art is like a mirror to show people the problem. Sometimes it's like hugely dramatized because people only this is how the people could see the problem. If you like with Murder Girl, the problem is dramatized because I think that's how people could like really see the problem.
Because we're so desensitized to these things in our day-to-day life, aren't we? It's like it has to be taken to its highest point for us to really see like, oh, okay, I don't want this. I don't want the world to be like this. But if it's just like kept in this very moderate level, then we don't realize what's happening around us.
A lot of things happening around us, and it become like basically numb at some point. So I don't know, art like works and like a knife. That's sometimes like a knife to point at people so that they could become more aware of the whole things going on around us.
Is that what constantly drives you to create? Like, is that kind of motivation behind everything that you work on?
Well, I just see pictures inside my head. If I don't put them on paper, they will just destroy me and become totally nuts. So that's my way to keeping more or less sane. Kovsky had a quote like, "What make you an artist?" He said, "It's simple. You just put it on paper or get and jump out of the bridge." The same stuff works with me. Like obviously I also want to I don't know, show more the bad sides of it, but this thing works for me as well.
So tell us about your contemporary art. Are you working on any projects right now, or what is it that you create as a contemporary artist?
Well, I'm a video artist, which is kind of quite close to filmmaking, but not so much. It's like a trash film called Plan 9 from AliExpress. It's going to be totally nuts, and it's going to be like about this girl who wants to kill herself, but Prince Charming steals her rope, and she needs to find him to like get back her rope and kill herself. That's the story that I'm going to be telling in this film. But it's not really like a typical film. It's going to be more of a contemporary art thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be like destroying the whole narrative genre, basically. Like ban, destroy it, torture the viewer and stuff.
Oh,
it's actually a story about dealing with depression and the voices inside one's head that tell her like abusive things, and also about abuse. So it's going to be about like abuse and dealing with depression. That's my big project. They actually like the project of both me, filmmaker, and contemporary artist, because I want to like mix both of my personas inside this project. Also, I recently finished a video art. It is a collaboration with sound artist. It's called Limbo. You can watch it on my Vimeo. It's like it's a video art. Like it's a work of me, the video artist, and like my friend as a sound artist. He created the whole sounds from my scream.
I am just fascinated by your work, Diana. I just find that so cool that you're gonna like again turn a genre upside down, like the typical narrative linear story, and torture the audience by not giving them what they expect. I just think that is so cool.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's like an interesting way of looking at my art. I mean, the whole upside down thing. I've never thought about that. It's like an interesting thing you just said. I'm going to be thinking about that actually, and maybe that's my style. I've never thought about that.
Oh, yeah, I love it. We're discovering your style live on the podcast.
That's so cool.
I love that you're so, you have your views and your vision and your beliefs just so solid in the core of who you are and how you show up and how you express yourself. Has it always been that way for you to be really vocal and passionate and active about feminism and the other things that you believe in, like you say, passionate about dealing with depression and sharing those stories? Has that always been a part of you that's always expressed itself really loudly through your work?
I think I'm becoming more and more loud as time goes by, but I've always been, I don't know, quite loud about some things. About like I've been a vegetarian for a lot of time, for like I don't know, a lot of years, and I've been like animal lover for and trying to do stuff for animals for a while. Was quite vocal about that part. I don't know. I've been vocal about feminist issues for a while now, but I guess I'm becoming more and more vocal these days. I'm trying to use my voice to tell stories of people who are usually not heard, and at least at some point. And with some of my projects, I'm trying to use the not power, I guess, but like uh, mm, kind of power I have to like do something good for people. Like
Yes.
I have a documentary that has no English subtitles. So sorry, it's my only project that has no English subtitles. It's about like people with different learning disabilities doing a theater play together. And it had like a person with Down syndrome, and his dream was to be in a movie. So I put him in the Lightest Darkness as an extra, and then he was the protagonist of one of my video arts. So at least that's how I try to help people. Like it's small steps, but at least it's something, because it was his dream to become an actor, and he was extremely happy that he was in two of my works.
Oh, that's amazing.
And that was an example.
I was wondering if you have any advice or anything you'd like to say to, if there's anyone listening who is also like passionate about these issues and speaking up and making a change, but is maybe a little too afraid to talk about it on their social media platforms or through their art, because it can be a divisive, it can be a bit controversial to really shout your opinions so loudly, and maybe people are afraid to alienate their audience or whatever. Do you have any tips or advice to just share your thoughts and your passions?
I don't know, that may be too cliche, but well, listen to your heart. I
Oh,
mean,
we love it.
the heart will tell you what to do. I mean, don't listen to those people who just try to shut you up. To listen to your inner voice. Maybe you don't shout these issues loudly. Just, I don't know, say something just like quietly. Like begin with saying do something, some small things, and say that quietly, and then maybe at some point you will have the courage to say it out loud. Again, I'm preaching, but well, I don't know.
One of the reasons why we started this podcast is for especially artists to know that they weren't alone in a lot of maybe the struggles and the challenges that we face from day to day. And I just think like hearing your perspective and what you're trying to do within your art and the themes that you're exploring, I think is going to really encourage a lot of people around the world, because it can be, you can be fighting for something in your art, and then maybe nobody listens to your song, or maybe nobody watches your film, and it's so easy to become discouraged. But I think it's so encouraging, and that's why I think we're so happy that everything you've shared with us today, because I think it will really, it's going to maybe light the fire within some artists around the world who might listen to this, I think. It's really inspiring.
Yeah, it will inspire me actually, because it's I don't know, it's really amazing that people nowadays can inspire each other from different sides of the world.
Yeah,
because I'm a really depressive person. Sometimes I can do nothing and just stare at the wall, but at another time I like working a lot. I think at times when I'm really depressed, I don't know, hearing something good from a person who did something good would have, I don't know, at least encourage me like a little bit at least.
By you coming today and sharing your story, who knows who might listen to this, who needed to hear your perspective.
Yeah.
And, it just, we'll never know. What's the art scene in Moscow like? Like, I've never been to Russia. I've never been to Moscow. Do you have a strong, thriving arts community there in the city?
Yeah, at least our contemporary art, because I feel more in contemporary artists in this kind of situation. Our art scene is quite friendly and like supportive. And we have a lot of underground things going, and I'm the part of underground artist run gallery. That's the gallery that's located in the ex-Soviet bomb shelter.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's called Bomba Gallery. We actually did the construction works by ourselves, like we painted walls there and stuff. And I have a sole exhibition there just recently with my video installation. It's nice. I think our art scene is quite sportive. People are quite nice and open-minded, and they're like trying to explore important issues.
Yes.
I'm blessed to be a part of our art scene in Russia, I guess, because people are quite nice.
Oh, amazing.
It's so important to have a nice, supportive artistic community around you, I think.
Yeah, it's really important because it empowers you at many ways.
Yeah, absolutely.
So my first short film is about female cancer survivor who's trying to return to normal life and deals with PTSD. So this film was like my first narrative short film. It was no budget, and it was extremely weird, as all the stuff I do. And it was important for me because I had cancer at some point and I dealt with PTSD. And I think the PTSD is after the treatment, when the person is basically healthy again. And person deal with depression and PTSD. It's not the theme that is widely explored, because usually when they shoot film about cancer, they're showing you the treatment, but they basically never show you what happens afterwards. And it's like a whole new world, because quite a lot of people with cancer survivors, they deal with depression and PTSD. And I really wanted to explore it from the female point of view, and I did it in that film. It was screened at festivals and stuff, and like extremely weird and no budget. But well, I think it was an important story to tell, at least.
Yes. And what was that like for you to tell and write a story that was so close to your personal experience?
My and the protagonist story weren't the same, because I had cancer when I was a teenager, and the protagonist was in her mid-20s. So it's different experience. I needed to research it, like how do people in 20s deal with cancer. But I felt that I wanted to put personal experience in my first piece. Like it was really important to me, and it was drama. It's basically one of my few dramas, because I'm mostly like a genre experimental filmmaker.
That sounds like an amazing film. I would love to watch that.
I think that's such an important story to tell, because yeah, I mean, that's, like you said, it's something that's a story that isn't often told about the experience after surviving cancer. And it's something personally I wasn't even aware of, or hadn't even thought about. So Yeah.
It's not like all the people who had cancer deal with PTSD and depression, but it's like 40% of people deal with this issue.
Yeah.
It's it's extremely weird because basically you're like you're healthy, kind of healthy, but like you deal with depression and you don't want to live instead of being extremely happy. Because like it's basically the same thing people who went to war deal with, like PTSD.
Yeah. Oh, it's just amazing to hear your story today, and I just feel really inspired about what drives you to create art. You've really inspired me today to just be aware of the impact art can have, or being aware of where it's coming from when I create. What part of myself is it coming from? You've just been an amazing person to talk to today. I'm so glad that we connected on Instagram.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's amazing. I feel inspired as well because it's the whole I don't know, the whole connection is inspiring.
Before we say goodbye, is there any advice that you would not only give? We've asked you already what advice you would give to people about sharing your thoughts with the world, but is there any advice from your artistic journey that you would want to share with other artists that has helped you along the way?
I think learn how to collaborate with other people because, like, I'm the person who's doing a collaborative art form, so I need to learn how to listen to other people. I mean, I'm still doing my vision, but sometimes listening to other people's opinion can improve your vision. Just don't be this tyrant who just like it's my vision, screw you all. But no, that's try to listen to other people's opinion. Not exact. It's not. It doesn't mean you need to follow those opinion. You just can listen to those opinion. I think that's important at a like film director, at least film director's point of view. It's important to learn how to like listen to what other people think.
Thank you so much for being here today and for sharing your heart with us, for sharing about your work and everything that you want to, everything that you're working on. It's just been so inspiring to hear about your journey.
Thank you so much for having me. Sorry for my awful accent. I'm so sorry.
Oh my gosh, no. You know, you've shown up here in your second language and just done an absolutely amazing interview, and you've just expressed yourself so amazingly. So yeah, just well done to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode.
If you'd like to be a part of the Artwork conversation, we would love to invite you to join our Artwork Community Facebook group, where you can connect with the artists we've featured on the podcast and share your journey with a like-minded community. You can find the link in the show notes, as well as all the links to today's artist.
If you've enjoyed this episode, we'd really appreciate it if you would take the time to subscribe to and review it so that more people can find us in the future. Your comments can help us pop up on more people's suggested podcasts, helping our artists' stories reach a wider audience.
Podcasts are best spread by word of mouth, so if you know people who might enjoy this episode or the Artwork podcast as a whole, we would love it if you told them all about it. And if you'd like to financially support this project, you can now do that on Patreon, where you can choose the amount you'd like to give us for lots of fun rewards.
Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at art.workconversation.
And tune in next week for another inspiring episode. Bye!
Bye!